has no representative in this case.
Defense, do you guys have a party representative?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Berkeley de la Porta is the defense party representative in today's case.
State.
Yes. We would like to direct your attention to stipulations. First, stipulation 8. Both parties agree that Exhibits 1, Exhibit 2, Exhibit 3, Exhibit 4, and Exhibit 20 are pre-admitted and may be published to the jury at any time after opening statements. The parties further agree that these exhibits may be referenced and shown to the jury during opening statements.
Defense, is that your understanding of that stipulation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else?
Yes, the state would like to direct your attention to stipulation 15. Both parties agree that the blockchain records collected in this case by Agent Burke are properly described and reflected in Agent Burke's report. Parties further agree that the blockchain records are too voluminous to be offered into evidence as an exhibit.
Defense, is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
Lastly, the state would like to direct your attention to stipulation 21. Prior to Berkeley F. de la Porta's trial, Poe Cameron entered a guilty plea to conspiracy to commit grand theft for Cameron's role in the armed heist that occurred on Miller Tower on October 31st, 2022 in Santa Iva City, Charlotte County, Midlands.
And is that your understanding of that stipulation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, anything else from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. Being that this is the first time in Your Honor's courtroom, we would like to inquire on Your Honor's presence. First, regarding the well. May we move freely?
Yeah, I know it's kind of a weird shaped well. Please move freely. You don't have to ask for permission to move anywhere. Make as much use of the well as you can.
Yes, Your Honor. Would you like us to ask permission to approach Your Honor, opposing counsel, and the witnesses?
No, you don't have to ask for permission.
Lastly, if an objection is sustained, should we motion to strike or assume the offending testimony is stricken?
You can motion to strike.
Nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
All right, anything from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Can we can we assume that all objections are held at sidebar?
Yes.
We would like to direct Your Honor's attention to stipulation 12. All the stipulation says is that Ms. Berkeley de la Porta was not in the Midlands on the night of October 31st, 2022.
Is that your understanding, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
We would also like to direct Your Honor's attention to the case of the Tarot Readers Association. All this case says is that Agent Burke on the prosecution can testify to how evidence aided in their investigation, but not to how evidence was handled or any expert scientific conclusions.
Is that your understanding of the Tarot Readers Association?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor. With that, the defense is ready to proceed with opening statements.
All right, opening from the state.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed? Your Honor, opposing counsel, members of the jury, may it please the court. They had the want, the wealth, and the way. On October 31st, glasses clinked, guests laughed, expensive outfits were worn, and shiny, valuable artifacts from all over the world were being held and displayed in a room. By the end of that night, 3 priceless paintings would be missing, gone, disappeared. Elegance and riches turned to bloodshed and theft. Members of the jury, in front of you today sits the defendant, Berkeley de la Porta. A rich and privileged individual used to getting everything that they want. But members of the jury, the defendant was unable to use their money to acquire these Morso paintings. So instead, they abused their power, betrayed the trust of everyone around them, and stooped to unimaginable lengths to get their hands on these paintings. That's why today, the prosecution has brought forward the charge of conspiracy to commit grand theft. Today, the prosecution will prove to you 2 things. 1, that the defendant entered an agreement to steal the Morso paintings. And 2, that the defendant acted to further this agreement. The prosecution bears the burden of proving these 2 elements beyond any reasonable doubt. We, the state, are confident that after hearing from our witnesses, you will have no choice but to produce a guilty verdict. First, you will hear from philanthropist Cypress Cosmos. She will attest to the defendant's manipulative nature and talk to you about the defendant's involvement in planning the gala. Then, you will hear from FBI agent Burke. He will tell you about all the details that led the FBI to believing that the defendant match the criminal profile of a Morso mastermind. After that, you will hear from Cam Coppola, a criminal informant. He will tell you about his involvement in a sting operation and how he bought the Morso paintings back. He will also share previous knowledge as an art dealer and share other details about the investigation. Finally, you'll hear from Emily Sands, a security guard on the night of the attack. She will tell you about the traumatic attack and the impacts that night had on her. She will also tell you about the defendant's extensive knowledge of the security and the gala. At the end of today's trial, my co-counsel, Jacob Francie, will ask you to review the facts, the testimonies, and the evidence. They had the want, the wealth, and the way. We, the state, are confident that you will produce a guilty verdict. Thank you.
Does the defense have an opening?
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
You may.
Your Honor, opposing counsel, esteemed members of the jury, may it please the court. This case is about an investigation that started out with a conclusion, and they ended up with a delusion. As we look through this case, I first want to look at the burden. The state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Ms. Della Porta, is guilty of conspiracy to commit grand theft. To prove this, they have to do two things. Prove that Ms. Della Porta entered an agreement and then an act was done in furtherance of that agreement. The prosecution might tell you that they will be able to reach this burden, but the truth is that they won't. And this is because of three questions I want you to focus on. Can we trust the state's investigation? You will hear from a property manager of Ivy Lane that heard disturbing statements done by the lead investigator saying that they will pin it on the defendant. Not catch who is guilty, but pin it. You will also hear from an expert witness who knows extensive knowledge on confirmation bias, who saw the concerns and raised them when it comes to the investigation and the rank and the confirmation bias in it. You will also hear from Berkeley Della Porta herself, who was harassed by the lead investigator with insistent calls over and over and over again. Second of all, I want you to look at who had access to Miller Tower. You will hear from the caterer, Orlov, that there were 150 guests. This isn't including the employees. These guests knew the dress code. These guests knew what the auction items were worth. These guests knew when they were going to be displayed and at what place. We also know that the cooks, the caterers, the security guards, and the organizers all went through security walkthroughs, and the organizers also had a key. All the organizers also had a key card. I also want you to look at a third thing. Where are the robbers? We don't know who the robbers are. To this day, we don't know two of the robbers' identity who are still on the run. Yet, the state will try to tell you that there is absolutely no possibility that these robbers were able to commit this crime by themselves, without even knowing who they are. And this becomes even more alarming when you end up finding out that there are articles on the web, free to see for anyone, on how to open the vault, and the fact that the staff wasn't funded adequately enough, and that the equipment wasn't good enough. But they will try to tell you that these robbers couldn't do it by themselves. So, when my co-counsel Lyon comes up here for his closing statement, he will tell you to plead not guilty for the defendant. And once you hear the testimony, I want you to remember that this case started with a conclusion. And as the investigators try to fumble for a foundation, they ended up with a delusion.
tell us what you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm a philanthropist, a humanitarian. I also act on the side, I'm a poet, and I'm on the board of directors for the Sohai Children's Hospital.
And did you know the defendant?
I did. We were both on the board of directors for the Children's Hospital and on the planning committee for the gala.
Did you ever hang out with the defendant outside of work?
I did. Once she invited me to her yacht, and then never again after that.
And how often did you guys see each other?
About once a month for the hospital, but if something was going on, more, but usually once a month.
And were you there the night of the gala?
I was.
How did you get involved?
I was on the planning committee, along with Della Porta.
What kind of planning went into this gala?
Well, we started off by making an invitation list, a dinner menu, entertainers, and also the biggest task, which was gathering all the auction items for the gala.
Can you tell us more about the security?
Yes, Della Porta was in charge of deciding where the auction items will be placed, and they were placed in the vault on the 40th floor of Miller Tower.
Can you tell us about the pieces that the defendant used for the auction?
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff. I'd say all the members of the planning committee played a part in gathering the auction items, but there was a bunch of cool stuff. There was statues, artwork, rare jewelry, and these Morso paintings that were the companion paintings of Della Porta's personal paintings she owned, but they were not for sale. They were only for viewing.
How did you manage to use the items for the gala?
They were for viewing.
And where did you guys keep these items?
We kept them in the vault on the 40th floor of Miller Tower.
Did the defendant have access to the vault blueprints?
I don't know for sure, but once on our walkthrough, she made a joke to just ask her if we needed to know how the vault worked or the blueprints, because she had it all memorized.
Did anything else happen after reviewing the security with the defendant?
Yeah, she took a phone call.
And what did you hear on that phone call?
I heard her say, "I can send you a snapshot of the special," and then it cut off. She got cut off.
Did you know that Ms. Della Porta wasn't going to show up?
I did. I was called.
And after learning that Ms. Della Porta wasn't going to make it to the gala, what did you do?
Well, I was honored, but I was also shocked because Della Porta has never missed the annual gala. She's always there. But I was honored because they let me do the opening remarks instead of her.
Did you see anything suspicious on the night of the gala?
Yeah, I saw these two people wearing masks, but one of them had it on their head, and I found it kind of odd.
Could you recognize any of those masked individuals?
Yeah, when one of them had their mask on their head and I could see their face, and then later I saw him on the news and it was Poe Cameron.
Did they say anything to you?
Yes, they were. I saw them later in the night and they were running to the entryway. But before they disappeared, when he ran past me, he said, "I guess you'll live to see another day."
And at that point, what did you do next?
Well, I realized we were being robbed, so then I found a server. His name was like Parker or something. I honestly don't remember. He wasn't that important. And I told him to take me to the security office, but no one was there.
You found the server, and then where did you go?
Well, he took me to the security office and no one was there.
Did you see anything when you were near the vault?
Not at first, and then the server, he pointed out to me that the door was open.
And what did you two see inside the vault?
When we walked over, we saw somebody laying on the ground, unconscious, in a security guard uniform.
After the robbery, what happened the following day?
Della Porta called me.
And when you were on the phone with the defendant, what did that conversation look like?
Well, she wanted to know what happened, so I told her that about the two people I saw in masks and how it was like odd.
Did you have any questions for the defendant?
Yeah, I remembered about her family emergency, so I asked about her cousin because it felt rude to not mention it, and she said, "What cousin? I don't have any cousins."
That's all, Your Honor. No further questions.
Does the defense have a cross?
Well, she has her moments, but I wouldn't say I like completely hate her.
You and Della Porter are not friends.
Not the closest, but we're cordial.
The defendant used to outbid you in auctions.
Yeah.
You and the defendant are not friends.
We're cordial.
But you and the defendant were once friends.
Somewhat. We were.
You stated that you. Objection, Your Honor. Opposing counsel's question is asking for hearsay.
Response?
You're objecting on which statement? You just asked my witness. Opposing counsel just asked my witness about a statement that she made.
Defense, if there's a way that you can rephrase the question, I can overrule. I'll overrule for now, just rephrase the question.
Yes, Your Honor. You hung out with the defendant in the past before?
I have, yes.
You are a fan of art,
Somewhat, yeah.
and the night of the gala, you and all the organizers had a special key card that would allow you to have special access to the more secure locations.
Yeah, we did. But honestly, I would say Della Porta was more familiar with the locations than I was.
Your phone did not work the night of the gala.
Yes.
Your phone did work the night of the gala.
No.
Della Porta was not present the night of the gala.
Correct.
And you did not recognize many of the costumes worn by the guests.
Correct, I didn't.
And you noticed that a lot of the security were absent at the entryway.
Yeah, I did. It was odd.
You saw someone that looked similar to Poe Cameron the night of the gala.
I did. I saw him leaving towards the entryway.
You were threatened by him when he walked past you,
Yes, I was.
and you thought the auction was getting robbed,
Yeah, it was getting robbed.
and you believed that all the items at the auction, including the martial art paintings, were getting stolen.
Yes, they were.
Thank you, Ms. Cobbins, you can step down. Does the state have any more witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, we call Agent Burke to stand. May I proceed? Can you please state your name for the court?
My name is Agent Charles Burke, the FBI.
You work for the FBI?
That is correct.
Can you tell me your job within the Bureau?
I'm a member of the art crime team.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience within the FBI?
I started on the violent crime team in Boston for 10 years. And then I was promoted and deployed to Iraq as a part of the counterterrorism movement to recover art in the Iraqi war. Then I was reassigned back to Washington, D.C. as a member of the art crime team.
Agent Burke, you told me that you were part of the art crime team. Does that require any training?
Yes, it does. Every member goes through extensive training in Bitcoin and cybersecurity.
Can you tell me how you're related to this case?
My role in this case was tracking down the thieves of the artwork stolen from the Miller Tower through the dark web.
So how did you first get involved in this case?
I was approached by a fellow agent of mine with security footage of the night.
What did you see in that video footage?
Upon analyzing it, I noticed multiple key behaviors of the thieves that led me to believe they could not do this on their own. My initial conclusion was this was the work of the FBI's Morse master.
So what was your first step in the investigation after watching the video?
After watching this video, I reached out to the local detective to offer my analysis and insight as well as my assistance. He agreed as long as FBI's resources would be allowed to be used on the case.
So what was the next step after that?
After that, on December 3rd, the local detective called me to an apartment building, Ivy Lane, and informed me that Memphis Raines and Poe Cameron had leased an apartment there, apartment 322. I left after that.
So what was your plan moving forward after that?
After that, I decided that I needed to track down the paintings as quickly as possible, so I planned a digital sting operation.
How would you execute that?
Upon receiving funds from my supervisor, approximately $5.8 million, I initiated the planned digital sting operation and began searching the dark web for an auction site containing the paintings stolen from the Miller Tower.
What did you discover from this trace?
Once I found the auction of 3 paintings that were not the Morso paintings, I bid on them and bought them with the objective of tracing the seller via Bitcoin.
How would you trace with Bitcoin? How does that work?
If I could have whiteboard.
Permission to use a whiteboard and marker for the witness.
Yeah, does the defense have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
So Bitcoin is stored in wallets, and there's an online ledger called blockchain that tracks transactions of Bitcoin between these wallets. So once we purchased the paintings, we were able to follow the Bitcoin through the wallets.
So where did you track?
We first tracked it to a wallet A, where we noticed it was transferred 3 more times through 3 different wallets. A wallet B, C, and D. But once the money hit wallet D, the payment split.
How so?
Approximately 40% of the Bitcoin was transferred to a wallet F and almost immediately withdrawn within 10 seconds. However, the remaining 60% were transferred to a wallet E, then remained in that wallet for 24 hours. Enough time for the FBI to receive a warrant and seize the wallet.
So tell me about wallet E. What did you find?
Upon seizing it and scrutinizing its transaction history, we discovered that there had been payments from this wallet to a Burnsteel Limited in the British Virgin Islands. With cooperation from British intelligence, we managed to pull the financials and registration records of this company.
What did those records reveal?
It revealed that Burnsteel Limited was a shell company with Cameron and Raines listed as the owners. Further scrutinizing their transaction history, we discovered payments had been made to the company by Godspeed Industries, a subsidiary of MSIG.
MSIG. Can you tell me who owns or leads MSIG?
Yes, Berkeley de la Porta.
Is that the only connection that you have to Berkeley de la Porta in this?
No. Not only does Berkeley de la Porta own MSIG, we also found that she was on the board of Godspeed Industries, along with 3 other members.